Bears After Dark is back on Monday nights. Welcome in. Let's have some fun. It's week 2 of training camp. Adam Rank joins along with Draft Dr. Phil and Shayne Marsaw from the Tape Never Lies Network. We're talking Bears on CHGO Bears After Dark starting right now. CHGO Bears After Dark presented by Empire Today and Circus Sports. Once again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. Of course, my stream froze as soon as we started this show. So as I said,
I'm glad we're rotating guests, Phil. Yeah. This might not work out for us.
It never ends. So apologize once again. My stream completely froze, and here we are. So such a great start here to CHGO Bears After Dark, and we appreciate everyone tuning in. Please hit that like button as you hang out, and we will continue to move things along. Adam Rank will be joining here in about 15 minutes, and we'll be having some fun with him as we have all of last season. So excited for that as well. And so without further ado, Shayne Marsaw and Phil Ottochian, never a dull moment when you're with me. And you
I think Phil's on mute too.
Yes, Phil is on mute, which we might have to continue to do. No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Am I allowed to talk?
I don't know, man. The way this started, I'm kind of scared now.
I've never had that happen before where a stream just completely freezes on me. I'm producing and hosting at the same time, so I had to adjust on the fly, but never.
I might leave the podcasting game and become a professional arm wrestler. I don't know, man.
Yes, absolutely. Be an option for me. Yes, I would absolutely. And I know Travis Bagent would definitely help me out with that in that endeavor. So yes, let's talk some Bears as we fight through this stuff. And obviously it's training camp for all of us, including myself here with CHGO Bears After Dark. So let's just get right into it, guys. And welcome to the program. And we're excited to talk Bears here now that we're back on the Monday night slate. And obviously you guys have heard some reporting as we've gone through this here. You know, those first, now we're 5 days of practice in. It sounds like the offense has started to turn the corner the last couple practices. Pads came on today. So Shayne, I'll start with you. Just your overall view of everything that you've heard and seen so far from the content that's coming out and some of the reports that have come out as well.
Yeah, it's just more of the same, man. Bears fans are a rabid group. I get it. I'm part of that fan base clearly. And we latch on to every little morsel, and it doesn't help with, I guess, everything that's being reported out there. The instant gratification of everything, it's just not there. It shouldn't be there. We're talking about day 4. I understand OTAs and all that. It's different. Caleb's got some work to do, and that's completely fine. That's fine. I'm perfectly content with where they are. It's just people have to be able to digest the outside noise when, Caleb's a bust and Dan Orlovsky saying that it's going to take him years to get there, and this ridiculous 70% threshold that media members are holding him to in training camp. It's crazy, but that's what makes the NFL, and that's what makes the Bears fan base, who they are. They eat it all up, and they're going to react to all of it.
Yeah, Phil, I mean, we were talking about it behind the scenes a little bit too. It's just that time of year now where reports are coming through. I'm tweeting all the plays, and, it's easy to kind of get lost into the development and the progression that's required because, like I said, we're all kind of fiending for this content. We've been waiting 7 months for reports like this, and now we're here. And Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson are going to be held to a pretty high standard because here in Chicago, we've waited a long time to have a quarterback, to have an offense that can move like the rest of the NFL, but also there needs to be some patience required as well.
Yeah, I mean, just piggybacking off of what Shayne was saying and what you're asking, I just think football, obviously, you go back to Lovie Smith, you go back to any coach, that is worth their grain of salt. The Bears have lacked a coach with that. So Bears have been snake bitten. Bears fans have been snake bitten. And you see this kind of ability to manipulate a fan base to get clicks up and commentary going each and every day. That's what a lot of these major markets have become. I've never seen a panic button pushed. And Shayne referenced Dan Orlovsky. I have a big issue with Dan doing what he did because it's completely hypocritical from his own playing experience and not putting any perspective in the numbers that Caleb put up with the neglect at coaching that you saw last year. If you look at his numbers versus CJ Stroud, who everyone was touting as the next coming of Tom Brady, you see a similarity there in chaos. So now we're 4 days into camp. When you're installing things, verbiage is having to be spit out and players are going to have to obtain that, go out there and perform. There's going to be errors. There's going to be mistakes. And to have these people standing on the sideline charting pass plays in practice, I've coached for 35 years. I do that so I can teach the quarterback or the offensive lineman what went wrong. I don't expect parents and fans to do that because they don't even understand what we're trying to get done. And that's the problem that I see now, because we're going to, JJ McCarthy, he's 27 out of 28. Wow, he's having a Hall of Fame-like career in practice. This stuff, Greg, it's just hitting me the wrong way, especially when you finally got a real head coach, it seems, and you obviously have the best quarterback the Bears have had here. It's very easy to see that.
Yep.
So now we're going to try to bury him down in this misinformation. And that's the Dan Orlovsky way. And that's the way these guys are going to go at it. And
yeah, I mean, you saw Colin Cowherd already eat it up on the Friday, where he's talking about, hey, he said he was a generational quarterback.
But you said it, Colin. You said it yourself.
Right.
There's multiple clips. You're guilty. Go tell me about Ben Simmons taking over for LeBron.
Right.
That's
and
the
of
point,
course,
Greg.
he wasn't available on Saturday when Caleb bounced back.
Exactly. And this is what I want everybody to realize, and take this however you want to take it, is everybody in the media that was banging the drum that when Caleb was at USC, that he is, he taking all of these risks, what was I'm blanking on the phrase that they used for him. He's just, not a gunslinger, but he's just throwing the ball, and the Bears got to tone him down. Well, then he goes out as a rookie surrounded by complete chaos. Now, was Caleb perfect? No, far from it. But 3,500, 25-6, and then but now he's got to throw more picks. We got to see him take more chances. But now when he does it in practice, they're vilifying the kid for it. So he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. And it's a clickbait world, and that's where we are.
Yeah, unfortunately. Context certainly matters. And Ben Johnson said he's not worried about the mistakes. It's about not repeating them. And he also mentioned how they're throwing the kitchen sink at him, and they'd rather overload him with everything and then pull back as they get closer to the season, as opposed to not giving him enough and then not knowing what he's capable of doing. So I think that when you see the process of how things are playing out so far, it's you can see the vision, and ultimately it's going to come down to, as Ben Johnson talked about, him really dialing in the details on pre-snap, which it sounds like he's starting to really start to gain some understanding of what Ben Johnson wants, and then post-snap. And then the biggest thing, it's not just post-snap and understanding where to go with the football and throwing with anticipation and knowing where your eyes are supposed to be, but it's also about playing under center, Phil. And when you look at that, and a guy that didn't play much under center in college, And, last year it didn't feel like they really went to that all that much under Shayne Waldron. Talk about that, Phil. The challenge for a quarterback playing in the I formation, playing under center, playing in shotgun, and then having where your back is now turned to the defense and then turning around and being able to know where your eyes are supposed to go and throw with anticipation.
Yeah, I've always said that, you teach a kid how to ride a bike, you use the training wheels. And football, you're getting under center because you're going to be able to look at what's in front of you. And I think a rhythm comes from that with your footwork. I've been calling for this when Mitch Trubisky was here and Justin Fields. You could just see the confidence grow in young quarterbacks when you allow them under center and you get that action game going, whether it be in the eye or zone, outside zone, inside zone schemes that you're able to action or boot off of it. Shayne and I did extensive work on Caleb Williams when at Oklahoma and at USC. He was under center a lot more than people realize or ever state. We showed every under center and that he could do this very easily. Now in Ben Johnson's offense and the philosophy, there's got to be timing issues and things he's got to understand at the line of scrimmage pre-snap. What better way than being close to the line of scrimmage, understanding what you're supposed to see? And that's just going to be just immense help. It just shows me, that Ben Johnson is worth his grain and salt so far. The things I worry about with a coach, this is 2 check marks in his box of positivity for Bears fans. Any coach that starts a player and demands them getting under center and out of their comfort zone or whatever it is they're comfortable with and expects them to grow is taking the clay of what I deem as the best quarterback we've ever had and building it up the way it's supposed to be done. That's what you do with the great ones. Jordan wanted it, Iverson, all of these guys that you list on your basketball charts, all of the greats in the NFL need to be challenged. And that's what Ben's doing. And I love it. But once I heard we got to get under center more, then I know the Chicago Bears have a plan of attack. And if you're doing 12 personnel, got to be under center. It's got to happen. When you have these 2 tight end sets, things are going to be built off of that you guys can't even believe that the Bears have lacked so many times and have just completely outdone themselves in personnel decisions.
Right. Greg, can you bring up Ace Dill's comment right there? Because I think this is what people don't understand. So you're saying that it's not the best option last year because of the weak interior, but the interior looked more weak than it was because they weren't under center.
Right.
That's the entire point. It makes everything in front of you easier.
Yep.
The Bears just don't want to do it.
Yeah, and last year when you talk about where Ben Johnson has thrown the kitchen sink so far here in training camp, whereas Shayne Waldron going into the season wasn't scripting his first 15 plays. They didn't even have a plan for how much they wanted a game plan for Caleb Williams to get under center or get in shotgun and know what he's going to be running in the first 15 plays and knowing how much they wanted to put on his plate. And then you also add in the fact that center quarterback combination and how much is that person going to help Caleb Williams in his early developmental years. Well, now this year they bring in Drew Dahlman for big money, and that's going to be a big part of helping him out at the line of scrimmage and identifying and dissecting what he's seeing at the line of scrimmage. So we're going to get into a lot of the different things. You talked about 12 personnel. Obviously, Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet, I think, will be a huge asset to Ben Johnson and what they're going to try to do offensively. Adam Rank is going to be joining us here in just a few moments, and we're going to go over some things and have some fun. So stick with us and hit the like button, and we'll talk about all that with Adam Rank.
Our new.
Hey, want to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Empire Today. Just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, well, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get that. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to those big box stores. You're wandering endlessly around the aisles looking for everything yourself, hauling the materials home yourself, having to do all the research, well, Empire Today does that for you because they live and breathe flooring, unlike some of those people that are at those big box stores. They might have been working on plumbing the day before or even bricklaying. The flooring experts can bring the right flooring and the right colors for your space. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount when using the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. And of course, got to give a shout out to our friends over at Circa Sports. Circa Sports Illinois, whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game, every sport this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. The Chicago Cubs have a huge series with the Milwaukee Brewers up in Milwaukee here for the next 3 days. Make sure you're laying down your bet on the Chicago Cubs. Hopefully they can win the division. So download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Make your money. Lay your bets down with Circa Sports. That's right. And we're back here at CHGO Bears After Dark. Please hit that like button while you're hanging out. And of course, hit that like button for our guy, Adam Rank, here joining. And now we're not hearing him, which is okay. I know we'll get it here situated in just a moment, but we're excited for Adam Rank to be back here on CHGO Bears After Dark. How you doing, Adam?
Hang on.
I don't think he... Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear us?
You can hear.
Yep, I can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Nope, you can't hear us. All right, well, jump back out.
Hold on.
Jump back out, jump back in, and we'll see you here in just a minute. Things are going swimmingly.
Rags on fire tonight.
I thought you were going to sing the Empire song.
Out of my control. I can't. We're live on the air. Sometimes when the bullets are flying, you got to try to stay composed in the pocket. And
gotta be composed, Greg. That's what getting under center does.
Yeah.
Keeps you composed. You got the 3, the 5, the 7-step drop.
Let you play in rhythm like your quarterback likes.
You like the rhythm.
Yes.
The rhythm's going to get you.
I like the rhythm. I like playing under center. I like trying to be composed, but I do not like the technical difficulties that we are efforting. But, you know, hey, like I said, it's a live show, and sometimes some things are out of our control. Adam Rank joining the show. How you doing, Adam? Not happening. Oh, man.
All right.
It's okay.
We can hear Adam.
I can't hear it with 4 people on.
Welcome in. Finally, we got you. How we doing, Adam? It's training camp. We've missed you greatly. I know you're excited for the season to get underway from, you know, a Chicago Bears perspective and a fantasy perspective. I know you're going to be helping people win their fantasy leagues all season long, but where's your headspace at with everything you've seen and heard so far with the Chicago Bears? 5 days into practice, and today was the first day with pads.
Yeah, probably pretty much where I expected it to be. You know, I know that in this microwavable society, everybody wants to pretend like they're just ripping open a copy of Madden, and this is going to be the, you know, the high-flying greatest show on turf of 1999. Like, this is it. Yeah, why aren't we scoring 15 touchdowns a game? It is going to take a little bit of time for everybody to get acclimated, to everybody get into situational football and things of that nature. So for me, I like what I've seen so far. You know, what you would expect: some great plays, some great performances, and yet some things that are not so great. It's also kind of like going out and watching somebody on the driving range and being like, well, this guy sucks. It's like, he just took 2 swings. Like, how can you make this? How do you make this determination? But you know what? I think that when there is a level of people with the amount of vitriol that comes out, it shows how scared they are, because they know that they need to get it in now, because they're probably not going to be able to get it in months from now. So you got to go in there, take your swings while you can, because it's not going to be an opportunity there forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. So once again, hit that like button. We're going to be having some fun this season, doing some different things. I didn't tell any of you of what some of my plans for today were. I'm just, as Ben Johnson has done with Caleb Williams, just throwing the kitchen sink at you guys to see how you respond and react, because it's training camp. And then as we go, we'll start to build this thing out. But without further ado, some of the things I've been working on. And one of the ideas is, because with Adam, everybody always wants to have some kind of ranking segment. It's always rank these 5 things, your last name's Adam rank. And for me, it just felt like low hanging fruit. So yes, it's okay to play off of your name, but no, you don't have to constantly be beholden to ranking everything in your life. It's like you're a prisoner to the rank file and system that is NFL and Chicago Bears content. So
you're gonna have him rank the Draft Dr. Phil rap albums.
Yes, that's what we'll get into next week. But I did come up with something where instead of ranking, we are going to take it to the rank. That's right, here on tonight's show. And that's kind of what I want to task you with here. Instead of taking it to the bank, we're taking it to the rank. And I want you to tell the viewers here, what is one thing that you're cashing your chips all in on with what you've seen so far, and what you feel most strongly about with the Chicago Bears going into this season?
Well, I don't like that you just cropped Kimmy out of that photo, but that's okay. That's okay. I really like that you used that one. One of the things that I feel the most confident about with this Bears team is that DeAndre Swift is going to have his best season as a pro. There's a reason why this team did not go out there and bring in a veteran to compete with him, at least not at this point. They're going to let DeAndre Swift go out there and do their thing. And I think Kyle Monangai is going to be okay. Like, I think he's good. I think Roschon Johnson, he's the one guy that I feel a little dubious on whenever, like, hey, he's like, you're like, okay, save it. Because we know, like, there's been possibilities over the last couple of years that have not really been taken advantage of. So maybe he will. But I know that last season, there were times, and I will go back to the game against the Commanders, where DeAndre Swift really took it over. So for me, I think that one of the things that I can count on for this season is that DeAndre Swift he's going to have one of the best years of his career.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly got a chip on his shoulder. I know he's hearing the noise of what he can and can't do here in this league. So it'll be interesting to see if he can fight back. And you brought up Kyle Monangai, and from all reports, I mean, I've only been to one open practice, so I've seen him on a limited basis. But from everything we're hearing, and it sounded like today they really ramped up the run game with everything they were practicing in the hour 45-minute practice that they had today. But from all the reports and indications, it sounds like Kyle Monangai certainly looks the part as well. So it'll be interesting to see that battle between Roschon Johnson and Kyle Monangai. Shayne and Phil, you guys do a tremendous job with your draft coverage every single year. That's why obviously we affectionately call Phil Draft Dr. Phil. You guys have been doing this a really long time. But Shayne, when you looked at Kyle Monangai and obviously all the different running back options, I was a big Cam Scatterboo guy, and he ends up going to the Giants. It broke my heart. It seems like he's doing well out there so far, but you get Kyle Monangai in the 7th round, when that is eventually how the chips fell for the Bears at running back in the draft with so many different options. Where were you at, and how do you feel about it now that we're into training camp?
Well, I looked at him as the cherry on top of an awful day 3 for the Chicago Bears in the draft. That's kind of the way that I look at it. Phil and I talked about him, and he's not going to be a guy that's out there. And Adam brought up a great point, and I think that this is what people fall into the trap. And when they're looking at NFL players, or they look at a 7th round rookie like Monangai, is there's not going to be any in between. It's going to be they're either awesome and they overrate them, or they suck completely. That's what most of the fan base is going to be. He's got a little bit of David Montgomery in him with the way that he moves the ball. I don't think he moves as well as David Montgomery does, but he's going to be a guy that's going to go out there. If you need him to get 3 yards, he's going to get you 3 or 4 yards. That's who he is. But he does have the ability to break free and squeeze free and move just enough to go. He's not going to be the home run threat that Saquon is, or even a DeAndre Swift for that matter. But 7th round pick, to me, he was by leaps and bounds the best pick of day 3 for the Bears. And I was excited. And for me to get excited about a 7th round draft pick, that says quite a bit.
Yeah. I don't, Phil, where do you stand on this running back room? Obviously people think it's the weak link of what they're trying to do offensively. And, DeAndre Swift once played under Ben Johnson where, honestly, they were 11th in the league in rushing when they had DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams about 3 or 4 years ago. So, Ben Johnson clearly knew how to utilize him, but at the same time at the owners meetings this summer, he flat out said that DeAndre Swift needs to learn to stop trying to hit the home run all the time. So from what you see from a tape breakdown standpoint and the opportunity he has to reunite with Ben Johnson, can DeAndre Swift get to a level that maybe we didn't see from him last year?
I think Adam did a good job talking about him. I think when certain players get humbled, when they've been a star their whole life, which he was, if you look back from coming out of high school, then to Georgia, 5-star kid, dominant, 1st-round pick, and then he kind of gets humbled in his career and kind of how his reputation is viewed around the league as what Ben is talking about. A guy likes to hit it outside, try to make a big play. Whereas now coming into it, especially, I know a lot of people don't take the interviews for anything nowadays. They're looking for sound bites. But for me, watching Swift speak, there is a level of determination in this guy's process this offseason where I didn't see that from him before. So that's a great thing, because the best possible characteristic a running back can have is determination. The refusal to go down, the refusal to be characterized as something you're not. You take pride in the game.
Yep.
I look at him like that, and I believe I'm with Shayne. Shayne and I were celebrating. Thought it was a pathetic day 3. I hated the hyped up best guy in mini camps and Ruben Hippolyte draft pick down. I'm like, finally, Monangai comes around and you feel like, okay, some scout has some information here. And then you watch the tape of him, and this guy, he didn't fumble the ball. And when you carry the ball as many times as he did, if you look at it, the way he carries the football, high and tight, like Tiki Barber after Coughlin got in his, to not fumble the football. It's a lot to be said. I think that's something that goes unnoticed by a lot of people and coaches that have backs that don't turn the ball over and run as physical and determined as Monangai does. Rashawn Johnson is not even in his category as far as what I'm seeing when Rashawn was at Texas and then what he's put on tape versus what I'm seeing in Monangai out of Rutgers. Greg, you and I talked privately about, look at the numbers he put up at Rutgers, and every defensive coordinator, Penn State, all the way down to Ohio State or up to Ohio State, are all trying to stop Monangai because that was their offense, and they couldn't because the kid has natural run instincts. And I'm excited about those two players. The running back room as a whole, the kid from Southern, what's his name, coming off the ACL injury,
Ian
Wheeler, you really saw, man, I was like, oh my God, if they play politics, and this was last year before he got hurt, and don't use this kid, he's clearly better than Rashawn Johnson. It's not even a question. Now we got to worry about him pass pro, but as far as what his ability is to just explode and read and catch the football, that's exciting. So where he comes in is going to be interesting. But for me, this running back room is on Swift and Monangai.
Yep.
And right now, I don't know where to rank it. No pun intended here, but yes, pun intended. But I would think you're in the below middle half of the league in regards to where this running back room is now. Monangai is the wild card here.
Yep.
If he comes in like Jordan Howard did his rookie year as a 5th round pick and runs the way, that determination. I mean, he could quickly become our Cam Scatterbo.
Yep.
Great.
And it'll certainly be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm excited to get to preseason action because, Monungai is going to get a lot of carries there and have a chance to prove himself. So there it is as we end this portion here, as we move on to the next segment here after the break. And obviously one of the big, aspects of having a successful run game is what they're going to do up front on that offensive line. And obviously the Bears have a big decision at left tackle, and we're going to get into some of that and more here when we come here after the break. So want to give a shout out once again to our friends over at Circus Sports and Empire Today. We appreciate their support to the program all season long and all summer long, and they've continued to stick with us. So stick with us here, hit the like button, and we'll come back here and talk some more Chicago Bears football. All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you remember our trips last year in London and Arizona. They were epic. You will not want to miss our trip this year. That's right. We're doing it up again with our friends over at True Fan Travel. We are headed to Las Vegas. Reserve your spot now. CHGO is taking over the Strip for an epic weekend in Vegas, and you're invited to join us. Join us as the Bears take on the Raiders September 25th. We'll be getting in that Friday. You get a 3-night stay at a premium Vegas resort. You get VIP parties. You get tickets to the game. You get it all here with True Fan Travel. Those tickets are very important because they're very hard to come by. Don't miss this unforgettable experience. Don't gamble on missing the ultimate fan experience. Book your spot now at truefantravel.com. We hope to see you out there in Vegas. It is going to be so much fun. Going to be some really special guests coming along with us as well. Hit us up. Have a lot of fun with us at True Fan Travel. And then, of course, we got a CHGO Kickoff Classic coming up again. Hopefully you made it to our first golf outing here earlier this year. Well, guess what? We have a second one going down. We're doing it again, 3rd year in a row. We are going to Cog Hill, August 22nd. Make sure you're heading out with us at CHGO Sports. Everybody's going to be there. You can even try to book people like me to play with you, or you can come out with your friends as well. And if you become a diehard here at CHGO Sports, you have the opportunity to get a discount on all these different events we're talking about, and certainly with CHGO and the kickoff over at Cog Hill. So make sure you go at allchgo.com/diehard, and you can get discounts on events like our tailgates as well. That's what we're doing all season long at the corner of Wabash and Cermak. So if you become a diehard, you get discounts. But regardless, make sure you sign up for those events today. All right, moving things along here on CHGO Bears After Dark as we've finally gotten past our technical difficulties. My goal here for C Block is to have nothing go wrong, and I'm sure as I've said that, something else will pop up, but you got to adjust on the fly. You got to step up in the pocket, and you got to hit a guy in stride, and that's what we're going to do here tonight. Adam Rank, Shayne Marsaw, Draft Dr. Phil, Phil Ottochian, all these guys from Tape Never Lies Network, from the Sick Podcast here at CHGO, as Adam always calls it, the three families. So this is exciting stuff to have everybody here, breaking bread, talking Bears football, excited for the season to get underway. So let's get into a little bit of the offensive line discussion. And that's where I want to take this to you, Phil. As I'm trying to introduce some different segments, as I said with Adam, I got one for you. And what is the quick fix here on the offensive line, and specifically at left tackle today? We had all three different left tackle options get reps with the ones, Karan Amagaji, Ozzie Trapillo, and Braxton Jones. So how are you fixing this as we try to figure out the solution at left tackle and solidify this offensive line?
I mean, you had the quick fix in the draft. They passed over, well, obviously Banks went ahead of us, and then I really thought the kid from Minnesota, Ursery was going to be the pick coming up in the second round, and they went a different way. So obviously Ozzie is your, second round pick that you're hoping that is going to take this by storm here in this, because let's just be honest, Braxton has been very up and down. He struggles with bull rush and getting pushed around. He's a decent pass protector. He's got decent feet, but his point of attack power and strength, sometimes he stumbles over his feet, and thus you saw some free runs at Caleb Williams that weren't Caleb Williams' fault. And Braxton coming off an injury, how much can you hang your hat there? I don't think you could. Just, okay, now he's going to be inserted as the starter. No, I believe this is the way you have to go about it in a true competition, to put them in critical situations that are going to get the best out of them, to see how they're going to handle that. That means you might have to confuse them and put them with a Montez Sweat over there to give them that kind of look to get them ready. And when you go to these, Miami Dolphins, and who else are they?
Buffalo.
You got to get their passer. I mean, you go to the other coach. Listen, we need 20 minutes straight to get our left tackles right, to get that earned. It's got to be earned. Can't just be given to your second round pick because he's big. There's some issues on tape with Ozzie. I like the football player. I worry about him on the left side, Greg. And the question is really a difficult one, because I don't think it's a quick fix. I think you're going to have to do your due diligence here to find that comfort at that critical position. I call it the Holy Trinity. It's the quarterback number 1, pass rusher number 2, left tackle number 3. The Bears have not done that. They've drafted a lot of guys under Ryan Poles, and I'm praying that Trapillo is better on the left side. Then I saw some inconsistencies on the right. I have not been at camp. And today's the first day of pads, and any coach worth their grain of salt is going to tell you it's a whole different scenario. That's where you get your juice from. When they get the pads on, we're going to be able to see it. So today's the first day. Hopefully, I think Ozzie is the clubhouse leader, but I really liked Amagashi coming out. Thought he got was put in a terrible situation with a terrible offensive line coach. Adam, I was right about that again. Thank you. And a terrible head coach. And the offensive system that they were put in, Amagashi, injured in college, didn't practice in camp, then thrust into a primetime game, just like the Bears always
with
do.
No help.
With no help. Didn't put Cole as a chipper in third down situations. The utter chaos the Bears kind of do to these young offensive linemen and move them around. Here, we drafted Kyle Long to be the left tackle of the future. Let's put him at right guard. Yeah, this is what they've done. So Amagashi, the guy I'm pulling for is Amagashi, to be perfect. I just think his ceiling is the highest at that position, but let's let it play out. So long answer to kind of no quick fix here.
Yep. Okay.
That's where Poles leaves us.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm surprised you say you're rooting for Amagashi. Adam, I don't know where you stand on this yet. We haven't really had an opportunity to talk at length about this, but I mean, I'm a big Ozzie Trapillo guy. I haven't really had any reason to be, outside of the fact that I just love that he is literally a mountain when you look at him. And he wears 75, so he's got some Kyle Long vibes. But who's the one that you're rooting for the most, or the one that you expect to take that job here in a few weeks?
Well, I hope, and this is something that you've said, Greg, so I'm just going to echo the sentiment that you've had, and I think Phil touched on it here a moment ago about somebody needs to go out and win this job. It's not like, hey, look what I found. I just happened to find this starter's position right here in the middle of the ring. You want to go out there and put somebody on the mat and earn it by getting the 3 count. For me, if I'm picking who I'm rooting for, I think this is very simple for me. I've always been a big fan of Braxton Jones. And really, that was a player who was not given a lot of opportunity to really grow into a position like this. He's from Southern Utah, which I guess is now a Pac-12 school, but at the time was not, who was thrust a 5th round pick, who was like, okay, you're our starter now. Like, wait, this usually shouldn't be the way that it is. It's not unusual for a small school guy to go out there and eventually win a spot. I think of the most successful version of that being like Larry Allen, who was coming out of Sonoma State, but he played next to Eric Williams and, Mark Stepnoski, which really gave him some juice to go out there and grow. The Bears have never given they've never given Braxton that opportunity. What Phil, the criticism of Braxton Jones is very fair. Like it is like, dude, you can't get bull rushed like that. You need to go out there and hammer people. And similarly, like that's something that I hope that he can mature into. Like if that is something that, listen, this is what you need to do is get stronger. Like, well, then I know he's coming off an injury, get into the weight room then and work on that. So if as far as like who I'm rooting for, Braxton Jones, I just don't know I don't know if he's going to take it, but he needs to go out and win it and not just be the guy who just somehow survives.
The three families represented here. We got Amagaji with TTL. You got Adam taking Braxton Jones as from the Sick Podcast, and I'm going for Ozzy here at CHGO. So that's interesting. I guess you're going to be the tiebreaker here, Shayne, because my concern
he's got to go with Amagaji. That's it.
Yeah,
he's part of it. That's it.
He's his own person.
My concern about it, Shayne, is that last year when you looked at the center position at this time, they were rotating and splitting first team reps between Coleman Shelton and Ryan Bates. And obviously it ended up working itself out because Ryan Bates gets injured. Coleman Shelton becomes your center by default. And, he did as good a job, I think, as he was going to under Shane Waldron and that offense and everything that came with that. But that's my concern, Shayne, is that this year you're not just splitting first team reps. You got three guys splitting first team reps today. So how long does that process need to play itself out? And how much of a problem is that? And how fast do you think they need to decide that to start building continuity and chemistry before you play the Vikings here in about 40 days?
Yeah, having three, you've heard the old adage, when they're talking about quarterbacks or really any position, if you have three guys vying for the spot, you're not real comfortable with any of them. And I think that applies here with Chicago. Now, if I'm going to pick somebody that I want to win the job, I'm going to go with what, like Adam said, I want there to be a clear-cut winner. But to me, that has to be Ozzy based on what you invested into him within the draft. Now, if you're going to be talking about Braxton Jones, he's been, for a 5th round draft pick, he's exceeded expectations. But if he goes out there, are you comfortable enough to pay him? He's in a contract year. You invested a 3rd round draft pick into Amagaji, who to this point has flashes of potential, but he's also not stayed healthy and he's injured again.
Yep.
In this competition. So to me, but my big fear with Ozzy is what Phil brought up, is when we broke down the tape and analyzed this guy, Phil and I both were adamant that's a right tackle. So in true Chicago Bears fashion, so of course, yeah, you're going to be our left tackle. But to me, if like I said, if it's a clean slate, I want your draft pick to get out there, get all the reps. And something that nobody on the panel has brought up yet that I think is key to all of this, Adam kind of alluded to it when he was talking about putting quality players next to him. Joe Thuney's going to make all these guys better.
Yep.
Drew Dahlman's going to make all of these guys better, including Darnell Wright and Jonah Jackson. That is anti-Chicago Bear, like what we're used to. So that is a big part of this. Thuney's going to help whoever the winner is. Just my gut feeling, it seems like with what Phil said, the leader in the clubhouse is Ozzy, based on not just Ryan Poles and his draft status, but he's the first offensive lineman that you drafted under the Ben Johnson regime.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I would be Ozzy, then Braxton Jones, and then I'm worried about Karan staying healthy because he just has not.
Yep. And from the, obviously only one open practice, you're not going to take many grandiose opinions from that. But when I was there on Friday, now that I've lost track of my days, you saw Ozzy Trapillo and Austin Booker kind of one won the rep, one lost the rep, where they kind of were battling. It sounds like you had a little bit of the same today in some one-on-one battles. There was a moment, can't take much from the run game and training camp, especially when no pads are on, but they did run to the left side in front of Ozzy Trapillo. And I thought after losing a rep in pass protection to Austin Booker, he then countered that on the next play, really road grading and creating an opening for DeAndre Swift in a lane on that left side. So obviously that size, you can see how much you can get from that, and the asset that Ben Johnson can have there if they know how to not put too much on his plate. You have Joe Thuney next to him. You have 12 personnel that we talked about earlier that they'll play a lot in with Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. So you can put somebody on each side of him and kind of protect him here a little bit early in the season. We've got about 13 minutes here left on the show. The Hogan Johns podcast will be starting up here in 13 minutes at 8 p.m. Central. So make sure you're hitting the like button here at this show, and then you're heading over there for the Hogan Johns show as they continue to roll things out here on CHGO Sports. And we appreciate all the covers that Adam Johns has been bringing. If you haven't been following his written content, well, you're missing out big time. Make sure you become a diehard at allchgo.com/diehard, and you can get his exclusive written content. I know just from behind the scenes talking to him, he's got some big pieces, written pieces here coming out soon. So make sure you hit him up. We're excited to have him as a part of the team. So that brings us to the final segment. I just wanted to have some fun with you guys here tonight as we, roll CHGO Bears After Dark back out, and things, I promise, ladies and gentlemen, things will go smoother as the season goes, but it's training camp for everyone. So you got to cut us some slack here as we are training to be great here in 2025. So Shayne, obviously, I'll give you somewhat of the final word. Like I said, about 12 minutes left in the show. But we love to call you the smartest man, right? So I had to put you in the classroom and get people to wisen up, right? And I know that, one of your big things is really following the tea leaves. We talked a little bit of Colin Cowherd and things of that nature. So when you're talking to the fans and you're seeing what's going on and some of the conversations that are taking place, what is some of the advice you'd give to guys like me or anybody else out there? What are some of the things that you're looking at that we need to wisen up about and be better about some of the conversations we're having here early in training camp?
Realize how lucky you are that you have the quarterback that you do. We're Chicago Bears fans. We've never been in a position like this. We have a guy as a rookie surrounded by chaos that passed for 3,500, 20-6, and he's getting railroaded by the media and a lot of fans. What world do we live in where you're Chicago Bears fans. Caleb Williams is the best quarterback prospect, and I know none of these guys, their story has been written. I wouldn't trade Caleb Williams for Jaden Daniels straight up, and I know I'll take a lot of flack in the comments. I wouldn't do it right now. I wouldn't do it. The story's not played out. Get behind Caleb Williams. Get behind Ben Johnson, because as beat down as this Chicago Bears franchise has been, the Chicago Bears fan base is. You got to get back to the days when the fans are hyped and, we're playing Green Bay today, where we're going to go out there and we're going to beat Green Bay because we feel confident about it. Same with Detroit, Minnesota, Washington, whomever it is, rather than just falling back in line and, we're going to get beat today. I wonder how we're going to blow this game. Football is a game of confidence. You got a young, aggressive coach in here. Dennis Allen's going to bring some aggressiveness on the defensive side of the ball, and that stuff is important. Rather than just sitting back and cover two, playing 10 yards off the ball on, 3rd and 4. Players don't even like that. So let's, as a fan base, get away from bagging on Caleb Williams and if he paints his fingernails and the color of his phone case and all of that nonsense, none of which matters. Because if he goes out there in week 1 and throws 5 touchdowns on Monday Night Football, then Colin Cowherd is going to call him generational again. He might even compare him to Ben Simmons, the next great player in the NBA, right? But that's what I would say to everybody. Just calm down with the empty rhetoric of saying how horrible this is, and Dan Orlovsky saying it's going to take him years because, the way that he made it sound is he's really not that smart. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm excited about where we are. They got to prove it to me on the field, but I believe in the quarterback, and that's the most important piece. It's the Holy Trinity, like Phil said. It's the leader of the three families coming together,
Right.
Caleb Williams, and that's where I'm at there.
Absolutely. Adam, final thoughts as we start to round third and head home here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Once again, hit the like button. We appreciate all you guys in the chat, and obviously I appreciate all three of you hanging out with me here tonight. It's going to be some great conversations going here forward for the rest of the year. So Adam, some final thoughts you have as we are in week 2 of training camp. Pads are back on tomorrow, maybe a longer practice and maybe some harder hitting. And obviously the first NFL game on TV is on Thursday. So it's here. We've finally made it.
Yes. I want to go back to what Shayne was saying, though, about everybody casting judgment after the Linsanity run of Jayden Daniels. And I understand people, like, that's the way it works. Like, everybody is so enamored with one great season to be like, yep, this is over. We're good. Remember how many people thought that Kyler Murray was going to be this like next great superstar after his one great season, or Tua did some things. Like, we have seen quarterbacks flash and then not be able to figure or put it together in year 2. So before everybody casts judgment, realize that there was no doubt. Like, I know it's revisionist history right now to be like, oh, well, I thought the Bears should have. Nobody who is a serious person thought the Bears should pass on Caleb Williams. Nobody. And I know that there's the Justin Fields hive out there that are like, we should have traded for the Hall. Fine. But trading for the Hall still meant you were giving up the number 1 pick because somebody was coming up to draft Caleb Williams and not Jayden Daniels. There were people who thought that Drake May should have gone 2nd overall. So don't do it. And by the way, and everybody who's already saying that JJ McCarthy is better. Like, how are you making this observation? And the thing about Caleb too, everybody looks at his interceptions. I know that a lot of you don't look at college stats. He never had a season in college where he threw double-digit interceptions. Yep. He just doesn't do it. He doesn't throw picks. That is not a part of his game. He is only going to get better from here. And I understand right now it's not great and there's things to work on, but that's fine. That's where we want him to be. Let the story play out. Let him finish the story. It's going to be fine. I'm with Shayne 100% with all of that, and I'm tired of hearing it. But you know what? The only way that you can go out there and squash this is to go out there and play well.
Yep. You got to go out there and play well. You got to finish strong. And so that leaves us with Phil Ottochian. The floor is yours here for final thoughts here on CHGO Bears After Dark as we wrap things up here. Returning to our Monday night spot, 7 p.m. Central, and obviously some maneuvering going on as training camp is rolling through. Hogan John's coming up in just less than 6 minutes. So, Phil, you get 3 minutes, and I'm going to put you on the timer. I know that you are no shortage of words, and I'm definitely not one to talk, but I'll give you 3 minutes here to give your final thoughts on everything we've discussed today or anything you're looking for going forward, obviously, with Pads coming on tomorrow.
I'll just focus on the show here. 3 families, as my boy Adam Rank said, coming together, breaking bread, and really speaking uniformly on what the Chicago Bear fan needs to do in 2025, and that's get behind Caleb Williams. Stop the insanity of beating down every rep as if that matters. Coaches want to see mistakes because in the game of football, just like the human condition, how do we learn from mistakes? Those are the way we get to where we need to go to be a champion. And Caleb Williams, the floor that he walked into Alice Hall with, whether he wanted to be here or not, I wouldn't want my son to go there with Matt Eberflus and George McCaskey and the ownership and the drama and the problems that have been there in the history. But he stepped up to the plate. The pitches are coming in. And as a rookie in chaos, he was hitting them out of the park. And it's unfortunate that the rest of the team, whether people were lacking desire and determination or confusion, weren't stepping up in the same vein. Now we have Ben Johnson. So this is an exciting time. I'm super excited about joining these gentlemen every Monday night here on CHGO After Dark. where we will spit facts in regards to what a national narrative is versus what the truth is, what a 12 personnel is versus what a 22 personnel is on down in this crazy game of football. We got Adam Rank, the guru of fantasy knowledge, and Shayne, the smartest man, my boy Greg Braggs. No one covers a training camp better than him. It's unfortunate that we can't get more from him. So hopefully you continue that drive, Greg, that you have. And 3 minutes for me is not ever going to be a problem. I'm just laying it up for you.
Timer perfectly. I'm impressed. I want to give a shout out to Q Harlan before we get going here. And I got a few shout outs to give, but Q Harlan, I know, just had surgery here recently and has been going through some things, and he's been sending me some messages on Twitter, and I know how much he enjoys our content, and obviously we appreciate him, and I hope you're recovering here fast. I know.
God bless you, Q.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
a long road. Also want to give a shout out to Phil. It's his 14-year anniversary to his lovely wife's. And
that's why I'm wearing this shirt.
Yeah, just got back from dinner.
Speaking of 3 minutes, anyways. That's my
so shout out to you. He carved out an hour of his day to come on here, despite the fact it's his anniversary. And I know both of us can say that we're very lucky in terms of having the good ladies by our side. You need that. My mom's in the chat too. It's always good to have a
there's my lady
woman in your back. Yeah, absolutely, Shayne. I know how much you love my mom, and everybody does. And how could you not? So once again, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Circa Sports Illinois and Empire today. Make sure you guys are hitting them up for your flooring needs with Empire and for your sports betting needs with Circa Sports Illinois. So a lot of fun things here planned for the rest of the season. Obviously, Hogan Johns comes on here in 2 minutes flat. So it's going to be, more content. This is the third show we're giving you here at CHGO Sports on the day. And it's going to be like this all season long, where we're just going to keep hitting you with the content, bringing you a lot of different perspectives with a lot of different voices from the player's perspective. Hogan Johns, obviously Mark Carman and myself, and then you got Jerry Azuma and Lance Briggs, and we've got post-game shows. So everything that you need from a podcast or a video content or a written content, this is what we do here. So it's a special thing, and I appreciate all three of you. Obviously, Rank, you've been here for a year now, and I appreciate all your help as well.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you. I understand that you're filling right now too. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a break as we move towards the top of the hour. I see the 1 minute clock. We're dialing down. I did want to shout out RJ Schmidt, because before I came onto this show, I was doing Fantasy Island on the Sick podcast with Adam Rank, and I know that RJ was a part of that conversation as well. So people like that who bounce from show to show, we really do appreciate it. And it really is just a testament to all the great fans out there who come out and do make this all worthwhile and allow us to go out there and do this stuff. So appreciate all of you. There's a couple other guys I see bouncing over too. So appreciate you following along with all the shows.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for adding to the filler here as we finish things up.
I got it. I can read a clock. I do it.
Yeah, we all of us are no shortage of words, but we're also no shortage of passion when it comes to our Chicago Bears. Thank you to everybody hanging out. Thank you for your patience early on with the technical difficulties. We'll smooth things over as the Chicago Bears continue on here in week 2 of training camp. Stick with us, subscribe to the channel, and always bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.